Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time of day you've chosen to join us here, I thank you. I'm your host, Adam Gerard, and welcome to A Word with Adam. My guest today is Dean Valente. Dean, it's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us here.
No worries, man.
How are you today?
A little tired, but not too bad.
It was early on a Sunday morning, so I'll excuse it.
Yeah, I'm not usually up this early. But...
Hey man, you got to do what you got to do for the business, don't you? Speaking of the business, let's talk into it. Obviously, you're part of our wrestling series, so pull back the curtain, you're a wrestler.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not exposing the business.
Oh man, just that's the interview. Yeah.
So how'd you get hooked into it? What was the first moment you can remember that you went, yep, this is my jam?
Well, I'm a little weird. Like most people kind of watch it when they're like really little and kind of went from there. But back when Blockbuster was a thing, my brother actually got me into it. Like back then I didn't want anything to do with it. I didn't even know what it was really. But then he wanted to like rent like the DVDs. I was like, fine, we'll rent some, we'll have a watch. And I just got hooked from there. But I think the first time I actually saw wrestling, I feel like it was like a Rey Mysterio match or something, just like randomly on TV, like Rey Mysterio and I don't know. No, I remember seeing Rey Mysterio, and I know that just stuck out to me. And then, oddly enough, one of the very first like memories of wrestling I have is like an old Velocity match. It was like Chavo Guerrero when he was Kerwin White and his caddy, or now Dolph Ziggler, wrestling like someone, I don't know, I just remember those guys. I'm just like, who are these golf guys? Like, what's going on? Like, I have no idea. Why is this Latino guy blonde? I don't know. Yeah, but that's kind of my first memory of it, and then just kind of kept watching through like all the old DVDs. Like this would have been when I was 15, 16, and then I would just watch like the old like from 99 or so onwards, and I'll just
a good period to pick up.
Yeah, just whatever DVDs were there, I would just watch it. So I didn't have Foxtel at the time either, so I didn't really watch it. So
you just caught up with the way you could through Blockbuster?
Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't watching the current product really. I was just watching all the old stuff.
So when was the point where you kind of went, you know what, this is what I want to do for my living?
In like high school, I was always very into like drama and that kind of thing.
Yep.
And I always just thought, hey, it'd be cool to be a wrestler sometimes. And then I actually broke up with my long-term girlfriend, and I wanted to do it for a while, and then that kind of happened. I was like, you know what, fuck everyone, I'm just gonna go do it. Yep. And so I did.
Nice. And you haven't looked back since, by the sounds of it.
Pretty much, yeah.
So what was it like? So you go. The first time you go to this training facility to learn, did you look up online? How did you find the training facility?
Yeah, well, I didn't know anything about the local scene at all at that time. This was in 2013. Yeah, was when I first started, and I just Googled it, and then I found a place that was relatively close to where I was, which is no longer functioning. But I started training there for it was maybe around 5-6 months or so, all up. And then that kind of, went on the downswing, yeah. And then at the time I was working with someone who knew Robbie Hart.
Oh, so well, that's a good in.
Yeah, so I kind of just hooked up a try through that, and then started with Rampage at the start of 2014. Yep. And so I've been there ever since.
I hear the training regimes at Wrestle Rampage are a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, like just the contrast between
I bet.
the other promotion, which I would. I mean, at that point I wasn't super fit either, but I wouldn't find it super challenging though. Without it was obviously challenging, but like I wasn't dying. But then I go to Rampage and my tryout, like the old Bluey the Bucket was my best friend for quite a while. So
I bet.
And these days the tryouts are easier compared to what they used to do as well. And even my tryout was easier than what they used to do, with the older guys as well. But still very challenging.
Was it a lot of squats and rolls and things like that?
Because mine was like a full day tryout.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cardio.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of running. Yeah, squats, that kind of thing, and then like just even before you get in the ring, and then I threw up like before I even got a chance to get in the ring.
Yeah.
And then it was just rolls and just basic bumps and that kind of thing. But then what we do these days is similar. I think Slater usually takes the tryouts, so he does his own spin on things as well. It's just kind of gives you like just a taste of everything that we do. So just
that makes
not too not super grueling for us, but for then it's quite difficult. So
yeah, of course. I imagine that it's kind of like a callus over time. You
yeah,
get
so
more
we
and more
built
used to
up.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So what's it like now then? The transition of you did your first 6 months.
No, I've done a couple matches, but they would have been god awful. They would have been terrible.
So from there, you go to Wrestle Rampage, and like you say, it's like night and day. Do you kind of very quickly see your skills changing, or is it a slow process? Like how does that training really affect you as a wrestler?
Well, I think for me, I can pick up the basics and that pretty quickly. I mean, technically maybe like not so much, but I kind of have a good like brain for like why should I do this? Like what is
The psychology side.
the psychology side? Like, I've got a pretty good mind for it. At least I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Like I pick up that quicker than anything else really. But yeah, I mean it's always like even now I'm still improving. Like it's always just one step at a time.
Cool.
Just take it that way. I think when I first started as well, because I'd already had that little bit of experience where it's just I could get some of the roles and just some of the real basic sort of stuff, whereas some people it would take them a bit longer. So I already had that little bit there.
You had that base knowledge.
Just that, yeah, that's a real base knowledge as well. And I think as well, I'd already kind of known and then kind of been taught just kind of the respect aspect of it as well. Whereas I always shake people's hand or that kind of thing.
Yep.
Whereas I think a lot of people don't really understand that. Well, it should just be a common courtesy anyway, but a lot of people don't realise you have to say hello to everyone and introduce yourself. But I think a lot of people are awkward as well. So
There's a lot more social awkwardness in the modern era than there used to be.
Yeah,
I blame the internet for that.
Yeah, I was a pretty awkward guy, but I still tried to say hello to everyone and stuff. So, but yeah.
I think for that, like being an outsider who comes into that world with a little bit of knowledge, like I knew going in, I shake everybody's hand. That's the one thing I knew about wrestling is you shake the boys' hands.
Yeah.
But if you don't know that, you would just kind of walk in and be like, man, these guys just don't talk to anybody, these stuck-up freaks, because you just think there's that disconnect. But it's a respect thing, like you say. It's showing that you have to respect the elders.
Yeah.
And whatever else.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about. You mentioned you did a drama background. You have a drama background at school. You loved acting and that sort of stuff. I'm guessing that's one of the aspects that drew you to wrestling was the character side.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, so how do you go about building Dean Valente, the character, the big man on campus character? Was there like a genesis? Did you start out with something else and build into that, or did you go, I'm just going to be the college dick, pretty much?
Basically, where I kind of got the inspiration from it was back a few years ago when Ryback was kind of doing backstage segments and just kind of bullying people. But that didn't really go anywhere, and so I kind of saw that and I saw, it'd be cool if someone did like a just a college just bully like jock kind of thing, because I don't know, he was just kind of doing it just because, and then
he was doing it just because he was big.
Just because he was big.
But there was
whereas
yours makes sense because you are that varsity.
Yeah.
You look like to me in my head whenever because we've done the backstage stuff in my head. I always look across you. I'm like, you look like you've just come off the row team at like Harvard. You're just like, listen, I have time for your shit. I've got bitches to bang and beer to drink. Go away. That's the air that I've always felt coming off you.
That's good.
Is that what you're going for?
More or less, yeah. I'm kind of basing, like those old just college movies, like not another teen movie, all that kind of stuff. Where it's like that kind of stereotypical.
The super jock.
Yeah, that's what it's based off, and that's kind of what I'm going for.
Yep.
But then at the same time, I kind of chose that kind of jock thing because it kind of has the potential to go a few different ways. Like you can do a funny thing, you can take a more serious route. You can do a lot of chance to do like backstage segments, that kind of thing. Yeah. And you don't it's like I'm a pretty funny guy, so I do a lot of comedy-esque stuff, but I don't have to be. I don't have to be comedy. I can be serious as well.
You've got the intensity underneath the comedy.
Yeah, exactly. So like I'm not strictly a comedy wrestler. If you look at Chris Jericho, he's a funny guy, but he doesn't go out
Rock
there.
as well.
Rock, yeah, he doesn't. But they don't go out there and do comedy matches.
No,
so,
I know there's once the bell rings, the game face comes on. But yeah, exactly. It's just Kevin Owens is a perfect example.
Yeah, same as well.
He mouths off constantly during his matches, but at no point do you sit there and go, I don't believe this. You just go, okay, this dude just likes to talk shit.
Yeah, which is one of the things I try and do. Is just talk shit. Because I think it adds to it, especially just being a live show. I think it adds to it, and I think in that as well comes down to the crowd a little bit because I need something to work off. So there's been sometimes it's a little hard to kind of get people join in, but like once it happens, then it's really
once you get them sucked. Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed about your characters. Once you get them hating you,
Oh, it's fantastic.
That's the end. They'll hate you through the entire match till you come out later on.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you do from that point. Once they've decided to hate you,
oh, it's great.
It's
they hate me over in Perth, so it's
oh,
fantastic.
look, yeah, I'll have to definitely check out some EPW.
Oh yeah, they've got a Vimeo account, so you can
definitely. Let's check
check
that out. All right, so let's go back a little bit now. So you've trained at Wrestle Rampage for a while. You're getting used to it. You're getting used to your character. How do you end up at Lance Storm's Academy?
Well, that was actually something I'd already lined up before I started with Rampage.
Okay.
That was just, I just heard, even before I started like training, I'm just like, hear all these good things about Lance Storm and you go to Academy and that kind of thing, and I looked up reviews and that kind of thing and what everyone was saying about it, and I noticed a lot of Aussies were going there as well, so I kind of like, and I figured, it's Lance Storm, why wouldn't you want to learn from it?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'd already hooked that up before I started with Rampage. I went there in September of the 2014.
Yep.
So I just trained with Rampage, and then I'd already, so I went up to Lance's, which was really good. Just really good travel as well, like just good.
It's in Canada, isn't it?
Yeah, in Calgary.
Nice.
So it was really cool just to live abroad as well, just for a while. Yeah. So I enjoyed that.
So how long were you there for?
I was there for 3 months, about 3 months.
So what was what was it that Lance taught? Because his style seems that you talked about how and we talked up there how Damian Slater kind of teaches you the lucha libre Mexican style, and Jag's teaching you the American style, and Joan is teaching you the Japanese style. So you've got all these guys teaching you these styles. Then you go to Lance Storm, who's proficient in what it seems is every style.
Yeah.
What does he teach you?
Well, the way he does it, he teaches the WWE style.
Yeah.
So, from what I know, the way he teaches is because he used to be a trainer for WWE.
Yeah, of course.
So the way he teaches is very closely to what they would have done, at least at that time, to what their style is.
Yep.
So he does like some technical stuff as well, but like it's a lot of work towards the camera. He does do like character work as well.
Yep.
That kind of thing. Like it's less cardio focused.
Mm-hmm.
More like there was cardio, but you kind of like you start doing a fair bit, and then as you go along, the cardio drops, and then more wrestling.
Yep.
Like kind of happens.
So it's he's just kind of a finishing academy to kind of polish you up and get you ready if you're already like. Can you go in there?
Most of the people there were there without any experience. I think it was maybe half a dozen people had some experience. I mean, I only had a little bit at that point, but there were some that had a few years worth and stuff.
Do you feel like going there to help change or shape your style?
Yeah, for sure. Like there are still things, because not everything's the right answer and that kind of thing. There are still things that he taught that contradict the things that Slater or J-Rock might say. Yeah. Which I like. I mean,
that's gonna be hard. You're gonna sit there and
go, well, because everyone's got their own opinion, and sometimes I think Slater will say you should do whatever this way, but then I think, well, I like it better this way. But I don't argue because he's taking training, so I'm going to do it their way. It was definitely it's not easy over there, but like just because there's less cardio, I found it kind of a bit of a breeze, at least at the start. Yeah. I mean, you kind of have to get used to the altitude difference initially. So like the first kind of week or so is a bit, you get really puffed out, but that's because there's no air.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and
so you get back from Canada, and now you've got the Lance Storm training under you. So where do you go from there? Do you go back to Wrestle Rampage and go, okay, guys, this is what I've got. Throw me in a match or throw me in some more training, or where does it lead you from there? How does it build so you start having properly booked regular matches?
Well, once I got back, I think, but we pretty much went straight back into training and stuff. But we had a Rumble, and then that was kind of my first main show spot, and I just had a Rumble spot. Big Brody Marshall, now the Rider City champion, he did his finish to me and then kind of turfed me out, kind of thing. So I was in there for a little while, so that was alright, and then it kind of built up from there. So I kind of started, I did a Rumble, then I had a tag match against the Hot Rods. I was teamed with Gorgeous Greg.
Nice.
Which is always which was really fun. We had a really good dynamic. So we played off each other pretty well. So it was a pretty good match. I mean, there was still at that point it was still very, I guess, nervous or just kind of. I'm always fine with like the character work and stuff. Like that doesn't bother me. But then I'm always kind of too worried about like the wrestling side, and then I kind of
Psych yourself out?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, not so much now, but kind of sometimes I'm thinking, I'm doing a hold and it's like people get into this, like, that kind of thing. But these days it's not so, like, I'm a lot more confident now.
Yeah.
And I can just kind of walk out there and do whatever now. Like, with the AWA, for example, we're doing promo, like pre-match promo.
Yeah.
No idea what I'm going to say before I walk out there. I just go out there. So
You nailed the last one with your
Harambe.
the Harambe line. That, like I say, I was backstage and I'm sitting there. I was watching promo. I'm like, this is a pretty good promo. And then you end it with the, I'm gonna do to you what that Zoo did, Harambe. And literally, I've been in the back now quite a few shows, and I've heard wrestlers make noise. I've never heard a group of wrestlers go, oh! It was
really?
amazing. Yeah, literally, I was like, wow, that boy nailed that line. That was a good line. So.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Someone stole it last night at the Riot City.
Yeah,
Dean Brady, the other Dean.
Yeah, Dean Brady's stealing your gimmick.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, he did a dab and a Harambe reference. I'm like, I did both of those. How dare or whatever.
I think he's trying to start a feud.
Beef. We got beef. Watch out, Dean Brady.
So yeah, so you mentioned AWA.
Yes.
Let's get into that. AWA seems like a slightly different kettle of fish for you in that you're getting your own character, but you're also getting put with a mentor situation with Rocky. So let's talk about, how did the situation come with you getting hooked up with AWA in the first place?
Well, funny story. I was in Perth for EPW. Did a match with Husey, which went quite well. I was supposed to stay there for an extra week, which would have been on the show date for Champions League, the first one, I think.
So one, yeah.
Yeah, but I ended up coming back early, and then because a lot of people were away, so I just kind of got a message from Jag.
No.
Do you want to work AWA? And I'm, sure. I got nothing else
Yeah,
to do.
exactly. Yeah.
Why?
I'm
why
a wrestler,
not?
so
And,
yes.
And so I kind of went. I think I wrestled Boomer on that show.
Yeah.
Because me and Mike, I think, just got told like the week of. It was just an awkward weekend where a lot of people weren't available.
Yep.
So me and Mike were available. So like, well, yeah.
What's it like working with Mike? We've had him on this show before. He's a fascinating guy. Great. Seems like a great talent in the ring.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was the first time I'd wrestled him on a mat, like on a show. Like obviously I trained with him, so
yeah, of course,
there's that. I thought the match went quite well, like because I mean Boomer's really good, so it's good. It was good, but then there's also good where I can look at it and see, well, this is where I need to improve and that kind of thing. So he's really good. He had a lot of ideas about what to do and that kind of thing, which work with what I'm kind of trying to do. And these AWA shows are really good because it gives me a chance to grow as a performer and wrestle different styles, because really all the matches I've done have been completely different really.
Well, Blakestone's a very different wrestler to Boomer to Grimm. So.
Yeah, exactly. And then I've got Istria on the next show, which will be completely different again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, which is the match I'm really looking forward to.
I was when that got announced, I was like, "Wow, that is going to be a barn burner of a match, right?"
Yeah, I mean, I hope so.
No, I'm pretty sure it will be.
It's good because then I can do, if you look at the matches, wrestle Boomer, whereas I'm a fair bit bigger than him, so I was kind of the big man.
Yeah.
I wrestle Blakestone, who's bigger than me, so like, well, now I've got to change it up.
Yep.
And then he's, because he's from Sydney, I think, so he's got a different style.
Yeah.
And then wrestling Grimm again, he's bigger than me, so have to work around that.
Have to adapt it, yeah.
Even against the two big guys, two completely different matches because they do two completely different styles as well. And then with Istria, he's more technical, so I'll hopefully get a chance to show off my technical side as well, which I haven't really got a chance to do since.
Well, everybody's been facing has been big brawling.
Exactly.
So it's harder to get into a Chris Benoit Jericho match and that kind of a situation.
Yeah, exactly. So
it
would be a good opportunity to kind of, show off a few moves that I can do, which, I mean, I don't really do too much, flashy stuff because I'm a heel. Why would I?
Exactly,
so I can do stuff, but I'm not
save
going
that for your face run, bro.
Nah, I'll never be a face.
You say that, the fans will turn you in time. Every heel turns eventually.
Nah, I'm too hateable.
How'd you hook up with Rocky then? Rocky Monero, obviously, AWA is your, I call him your sponsor or your big brother or whatever you want to call it. How's the situation work? The frat bro, yeah. How's that going to work?
Well, basically, I set up the Open Challenge.
Yep.
I think Blakestone was the first to answer it. So under dubious circumstances, I lost to Blakestone. I was very sick, so.
Yeah, that's understandable. You can't operate
at
full capacity if you've got a cold.
Yeah, I can't wrestle, under like sickness, like it was a disease,
Exactly.
It was ridiculous.
Exactly, it's a handicap.
So, I asked Rocky, you know, what should I do from here? You know, he gave me some advice. Took that to my next match with Grim. And again, the lights there are like really bright.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I was looking.
Well,
Because he's tall.
And he looked like he oils himself up too, which would make it hard to get a grip on him.
Yeah. And because he's quite tall, I was looking up, and then the
lights, yeah, of course.
Me, and so then he kicked me in the face, and then I lost. So you know, and I asked Rocky again, you know, what should I do now? You know, I definitely got a lot better as well because you know, got some good moves in on Grim. So you know, it's really just Rocky, you know, just mentoring me. He's just giving me advice with what I should do next. And then, of course, you know, I want to help him out. And, I care about Rocky. You know, I'm trying to help him with that maniac. You know, it's in the namesake. You know, he's a psychopath. Like,
he is. Yeah.
Like I don't know what his problem is. Like I don't know why he hates Rocky so much. Like
Well,
I don't know what Rocky ever did to him.
He did hit him with the chair.
Why am I getting attacked? All I was trying to do was help my friend and my mentor.
You had your buddy's back.
Yeah, I just had his back, you know, after him getting attacked by the maniac, and then I get attacked.
Yeah, what is that? Anyway, moving on from AWA for the time being. Let's just put a pin in that because I can see it's getting you upset. We'll come back to it and talk. You can tell me all about how you're going to kill history in a few minutes. But let's talk about so you hook up with AWA obviously, like I say, through Jag.
Yep.
So Wrestle Rampage is your main base of operations,
Yes.
I'm guessing. So what is, I guess, AWA's feel to me, if I could put it in comparison, AWA feel like the late 80s WCW where everything was that, and I mean that in the most respectful way, it's that old school 80s territory feel.
Yeah.
To the wrestling's how I feel. What Wrestle Rampage, from what I've seen, feels like the Attitude Era in comparison, and I don't mean blood and psycho shit. I just mean in that the temperature's turned a little bit more up, and it's there's a bit more pace and a bit more, I guess, fire to it, if you will. Would you say it's a fair comparison? And what is it like, the difference between stepping in these two rings and these two companies?
I think the real difference is, like, the two different shows definitely have a complete different feel.
Yeah.
Like, for sure, like, the way AWA is set up and the way Rampage is set up, completely different.
Yeah.
Like, just even with the lighting and everything, because AWA, you know, I mean, with Rampage, you know, everything's dark, and yeah, you've just got the lights on the ring, whereas AWA, I don't think the lights don't go down that low, so there's still...
Yeah, there's still
bright, there's still still quite bright.
Yeah.
Which sometimes is a little weird because I prefer wrestling when it's quite dark. But and then I think just with Rampage as well. I mean, I know AWA is obviously, you know, Allstars. You know, you got a lot of good talent from all over the place.
And I think that's what the feel is. The WCW is that there's some big names. Whereas with Wrestle Rampage, you've got this combo of I don't want to say undercard and midcard, but up and comers to mix with your big names.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, the thing with Rampage, all the shows are really like a super show. Yeah. Like that's kind of how they're built, because you know we've got our guys who are all, you know, phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then we've got, you know, the guys that come over from Perth, like Marcus Beard, Chris Rice, those guys who are again really good. And then we've got guys that come over from Melbourne, like Carly Cannon and all those kind of guys, and even like Rufio from Brisbane. You know, it's just a real supercard feel.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think, and because the shows are less frequent as well, and they're built up more, so you get a big crowd, and so it just feels like that just really big, just supercard of a show, arena show last year. So that was huge. Yeah, that card, top to bottom, was just stacked.
Oh yeah,
so, and I think all our cards.
That's the one thing you've got to admit is that Jag does know how to stack a card.
Oh, for sure.
Without question.
Definitely.
So you are. We obviously don't know what matches are happening yet, but you're going to be at the November show for Wrestle Rampage.
I will be there in some capacity.
Yep.
Yes.
That's good. That's fair.
I think the only match that's really confirmed is TMDK versus the Brotherhood.
And then one has to, whoever loses
disbands. Yeah. So that should be, you know, that sells itself really. Yeah.
The wrestlers in that match alone should be worth the price of the ticket.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I think with that as well, because there's 6 guys in that one match, 6, you know, pretty top name guys. There's a lot of room on the rest of the card for people everywhere that want to get involved. So now's as good a time as any, is, you know, to try and get involved with Rampage. So
absolutely. So where is it from here? Where do you want to go from here then? So you're doing your time now in Adelaide in Australia. Is it Japan? Like, is the goal the WWE?
That's the end goal.
Yeah. But do you have kind of a checklist where you go, well, I want to tour Japan, I want to go back to Canada, or I want to...
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't have it written out or anything, but Yeah, WWE is always the end goal.
Yeah.
But I try and set realistic goals first, and then set smaller goals, check that off, work to the next one, check that off. I'm not expecting a call from Vince anytime soon, but maybe one day.
Yeah.
For me right now, my focus is on doing more interstate bookings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping to do Melbourne pretty soon, possibly Sydney or Newcastle as well. Back to Perth would be good.
Yep.
I'm not sure what's happening yet.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of my next goal. I definitely want to go to Japan.
Yeah.
In some capacity. So there's definitely just the opportunities there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Getting the
getting the recognition, putting in the hard work. And getting there.
Is there anybody in Australia you haven't wrestled yet that you want? Like, have you got? I don't know if you got a Cody Rhodes list per se, but
I did do one of those, but it was kind of.
I saw it. It just said Robbie Hart 1,000 times from the one I read.
Yeah, that was the second one. Well, that's one. I mean, Dean Valente versus Robbie Hart is just a match for the ages. That would be have to happen one day.
That would be a great match.
It'll be a match. So yeah, I mean, I do want to wrestle. I've wrestled in a tag match before, but I was in the ring for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because I've wrestled Jag, Slater, J-Rock in tag matches, but I want to wrestle
proper one
at least one. At least hopefully all, but at least one of them in a singles match.
Yeah.
I think for me, Slater would probably be my first pick.
I could see a Dean Valente Slater match.
Yeah, I just think we would mesh well together.
Gel.
And
You gel on each other perfectly.
But,
especially if you kept your heel gimmick and you had Slater being a face for that one.
Yeah, I mean, because he's Mr. Cruiserweight Classic now, so maybe he'll... I mean, if you look at Jag, he's just... you look at him, he just screams old school heel. Yeah. But he's over...
yeah, exactly. He's one of the biggest baby faces you can find.
Which is so weird to me, because he's just... you just look at him, it's like, well...
Jag is literally one of the most... you just looking at me that is an intimidating human being. That is an intent... Like I say, you just need to look at him and go, that is intensity in a human being right there. Fucking hell, that is a serious man.
I mean, even over at EPW, when I was there for State of Origin, he got a huge pop when he came out, and he's, the big bad South Australian, because they hate South Australians over there. Yeah. And even then, because I think he'd been quite a while since he's been there.
Plus it's Jag.
And
it's skill set. How do you boo somebody that good? You know what I mean? Like you can over time, but at the same time, you still kind of go. Before I let you go, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you to look into this camera right here and tell AJ Istria exactly what he has in store for himself at Australian Wrestling Allstars.
Well, AJ, if that is your real name, you're in for a different side of Dean Valente. I'm gonna get technical with you. I'm sick of wrestling big men. I'm gonna pick on someone my own size. Well, I mean, roughly my own size. Someone smaller than me, I'm going to pick on. So, get ready, AJ, because it's going to be a hell of a match.
Excellent stuff. Well, Dean, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you. And this has been A Word with Adam. I've been your host, Adam Gerard. He's been Dean Valente, and we'll see you next time.
This has been a Cabana production.
Yeah, this is Dean Valente. I'm going to shield some of my shit. Wrestle Rampage Final Showdown on the 12th of November at the main hall in St. Clair Rec Centre. It's going to be a hell of a show, and make sure you don't miss that one. AWA Champions League on the 17th of September. I'll be wrestling AJ Istria, so that should be a sick match as well. Currently sponsored by Dan's Gym. I usually hang out in Ridgehaven, so come check it out and sign up. You can like me on Facebook under Dean Valente, or Twitter, which is the Dean Valente, and buy some of my shirts. They're $25.